Let me check.
We're not half an hour late. That's the good news.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So we've still got people filtering in. Well, I'm just going to introduce myself. We'll start off here. I'm not really getting too far into it, just waiting for people to come in. I'm Bill Butler. We're going to be doing a slab planting today. This is a two-stone planting where we have an interesting element that I haven't seen before in slab plantings, where we've actually got a back forest. We're going to have two stones forming a sort of stream, a bayou between the two stones, and we're going to be working on this stone during tonight's broadcast. We put this together earlier today, and this is the larger of the two stones. It's going to have many more trees. This one back here, 5 trees. I think we're looking at anywhere from 11 to 13, 14 trees on this stone here. We were getting a little out of hand. And let's see, I'm in Folsom, Louisiana. We're coming to you live from Folsom, Underhill Bonsai on Louisiana 25 in Folsom, Louisiana. And we got strangers walking into the frame now.
Okay. So straight on here. Okay, good. So yeah, Bill, thanks for kind of carrying us into this kind of shaky stream here. Usually, Third Thursday Live is shot on the other side of the building, so we have a different backdrop today because we had some rearranging in the workshop / retail space, and so we normally have a nice white background. Now we're kind of looks like we're in.
We've lost the light thing, the light cover on the window back there.
So we got a little bit of glowing.
But that's okay. We got the lights in front of us.
Yeah, they're a little blinding because they're closer than they normally are. But yeah, we formally apologize for we apologize beforehand for any of those that are watching and are used to the quality of audio that we usually bring with this stream. We were having a difficulty with the pin-on mics, the lavs that we usually use. So we're coming out of a mic that's right beside us here. And so that's why it sounds a little echoey. If it gets really out of hand, let us know. We can try to tone some stuff down. And I think it might be clipping slightly, so that's probably why this sounds a little rough. But just so y'all know, we have another guest with us this evening. His name is Josh Morant. He is from Lafayette, and he's sitting behind the computer today, and he'll be taking live questions in chat. So if anybody has a question or a comment, he will repeat them to us. So just keep in mind what you say, because he's going to be saying everything back. If there's anybody with comments or anything, yeah, he has no filter. I told him to say whatever needs to be said. Especially since we have Bill on the stream, I know shots will be taken. So, but yeah, Bill's got a nice elaborate setup here. Like he said, he's going to stream this and then put it straight to his YouTube channel. So he's actually got an overhead shot that's out of the frame right now.
And that will be coming in. But you guys can't see it right now, but I do have an overhead shot that will be.
Actually,
you can. Hold on, just a moment. You can. You're going to switch it over from my switch.
Yep.
Is that it there?
We can actually. Yeah. Look at that. So
yeah.
We can actually show that on the stream.
Okay.
So that's cool.
Okay.
So we can show you all the overhead shot. So here's the slab that we're going to be planting on. You can see Bill's drilled holes in the slab already, and these are the red circles on here. They might be a little difficult to see on the camera, but this is approximately where we want to plant each one of the cypresses that we have selected this evening. And so if we switch back over to the wide shot, we can see the other part of the slab planting that we did beforehand. And so we kind of come out here and pan out for a zoom in. So press 3 on that ATEM, and now go over to that one. So that is and Bill's slightly in the way. There's the first part of the planting that we did back there. And so if you go back to camera 4, go back in, yeah, then you can see that these are two different slabs here. So this is going to be the kind of like a little riverway between the two plantings. So Bill, if you want to kind of tell us more about these pieces of stone to kind of give some background on them.
Sure. These are made from Pennsylvania bluestone. I believe this comes out of Pennsylvania. Carved them specifications to Evan's specifications. He wanted a 2-stone with a waterway between the two. Stone like this. This was about 5 feet across before I started carving it, and so it's almost 5 feet across still, which is an enormous stone. You know, I had a lot of trouble getting stones this wide as well as that far back, and this was a real beast to carve. The other one, I create these stones for other people as this stone back here would be the stone that someone would have created a forest upon. And to use it as a back forest was an idea that it never occurred to me. I had thought of 2-stone plantings, but I had never executed them. Evan's vision on this to me is extraordinary. I think we're going to have a lot of fun tonight getting everything together on this stone. These stones take me, I want to say that this is anywhere from 2.5 to 3 hours worth of work on just the stone itself. Putting in as many drill holes, as many holes I had to drill into the stone. It took me another hour. We had just that many we wanted to put in. What we tried to do was for each small grouping, we took the entire stone, set up the trees how we wanted them, and didn't just create a homogeneous distribution of the trees. This is well thought out, and we had a couple of these are in small clusters, and the holes were drilled to anchor these clusters and individuals and pairs of trees. So you're looking at 4 hours of work to just get the stone to this state. Of course, it is an enormous stone. The other stone in and of itself was probably another 2 hours of work and another half hour of drilling. That's where we are with that.
Yep. And something to be known about the bald cypresses is that this is not the right season to be repotting these guys at this amount of, I guess, root work, and as far as these guys being flushed out with their leaves. So a lot of experienced bonsai enthusiasts out there, yes, we know this is out of season, but the stream was planned ahead of time, and it kind of ran into an early spring here, honestly. And so in order to combat that, we have sprayed all the trees down with wilt-proof. Mm-hmm. And so wilt-proof is a product that you can get from most garden centers, and it really helps the trees along with maintaining their foliage so it doesn't dry out. So when they do take on the root damage, that they will give up on a certain amount of foliage. Like this main tree here, he's looking a little droopy on some of the tips here, but for the most part, it's going to maintain a lot of that green on those trees, so that as the roots regrow, a lot of the foliage will stay intact. And the wilt-proof is kind of a magic, kind of a trade secret kind of thing when it comes to doing this. I wouldn't say trade secret, but it takes care of a lot of issues, especially if you're really behind on repotting.
Definitely.
Yeah. Whereas some species like trident maples, you could easily just defoliate them and start them over again. Bald cypresses, they're pretty resilient, but they are really energy positive. So a lot of the energy's been used up in their first flush, so we're hoping that a good second flush will help them recover. But for after this whole operation is over, we're going to do extensive aftercare, put them in deep shade, keep them really damp, and then wait for them to start kind of pushing new buds and do a new flush. So kind of show you guys what we've got here. We've got a lot of these trees in water, and you probably hear that dripping. It's going to be really wet in here, I just realized. But we have a lot of these trees prepped like this. So we'll take them and we'll start kind of arranging them to see where we want them in the planting. And that will show up there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take all these trees out, we're going to start moving them around, see where we like them, and then we're going to put down some soil. And
do we have a small scoop for the soil?
No, we don't want to use that. Might have Josh go run and get like a small bucket or something, one of those little white buckets. and then we can kind of start scooping soil in there. Let's kind of go through the trees. Start
Look at
placing
that.
them.
For some reason, my camera wants to trace my face. I hate when the camera does that. We're gonna let that just you go. I'm gonna yell at my camera a little bit.
Gotcha. So all these trees have been prepped beforehand. Like I was saying, their roots have already been worked into a nice flat root system, so they'll sit on the stone nicely. So we've got a lot of smaller trees to kind of distribute here. The main tree is going to go right here. So let me go ahead and get the main tree out as well. But I'm not committed to this placement at the moment. We're just kind of setting the trees on there, and the main tree is enormous. So we'll go in there and put that one in its place. Okay.
We had this one.
We had it leaning slightly towards the viewer. Remember that? So it's like, yeah, like that.
There we go.
That's beautiful. Okay. See, oh yeah, it's starting to come together. Now that I can see the back, and those have all been, yeah, it worked. So I'll go ahead and get the rest of the trees out. Start playing around with placement.
You want to play around with wires?
Yeah, putting wire down through the bottom. That might be a good start too.
There we are.
But
Need to get my cutters.
yeah. Yeah, Bill brought something to my attention that's very important. We need to flip the stone up and get the wire through the bottom. So, but yeah, just kind of playing around there. So y'all kind of get the gist of that, how this is going to be constructed. So since we prepped all the trees and they're all nice and tight now, like this, nice little root balls that can be easily manipulated and kind of arranged how we want them, it's going to be as simple as placing them on the stone, wiring them down, and then using our muck that Bill has that he'll tell you more about as we apply it. Oop.
Oh, I've got a very special recipe. I didn't exactly tell you the source of my clay.
Oh yeah, the what is it? Red?
It's
Or
a
blue
Louisiana blue clay.
Yeah.
The trick to getting it in Louisiana is you find somebody doing a dig. And here in Louisiana, I understand this broadcast goes out many places, far and wide. But what we do here in Louisiana when we need clay, like in many places, you just find a place where they're digging up the street, digging up some landscaping somewhere. We can dig down into our backyards and find layers of clay, thick, smooth clay, very good for what we need it for. But it's always best to try and find someone else doing the job for us, and then we just get it there. The recipe I'm using tonight is what? 1 part vodka, 3 parts gin,
Yeah.
half measure quinoa lillet,
At this point, yeah.
shaken until cold,
That's what I need at
and
this
served
point.
with a large slice of lemon peel. No, that's a Vesper from James Bond. That's actually his recipe for a Vesper. No, this is Louisiana blue clay. It's blended tonight. Tonight's blend is with coconut fiber ground up really fine. It's known as coir, C-O-I-R. And I had where many people will use sphagnum moss, the long strand sphagnum moss, to try and hold the walls together. I thought it might be interesting to use Spanish moss. I find this stuff literally in my front yard. I can just rip it out of the trees. I boil it down to kill not just the moss, but parasites, pathogens that may exist in the live moss. And as I may need to tell you, Spanish moss itself is not a true moss. It is actually a bromeliad. And all the photos that you see of Louisiana swamps and southern swamps, anywhere really, from North Carolina to southern Texas, the moss is hanging down out of the trees. That's actually a bromeliad, the gray moss. So I'm using it in the muck tonight as, think of it as a concrete rebar.
We should be good with that. Can you switch the camera where we can go overhead and they can see us putting the
Sure.
wires through? Yep.
I need, here we are. I need my eyes.
Okay. I'm gonna turn this upwards. This is gonna be a two-man thing.
Each one of these have to go.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing we didn't think about was the fact that this, we might need to grab Josh for this to help lift this
Yep.
slab up. Yep. All right.
Just come down.
You need me?
Yep. We're gonna
Come on in, Josh.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get a couple of these
Or are we
bent,
okay right now?
bent ahead
Yep.
of time. So here,
So this one's gonna go. Yeah. So we're overhead. So our backs are not facing the cameras right now. Okay. So where do my pliers go?
I one at the table.
They probably got squished. Oh, there they are. There we go. So whenever we tell you we're gonna lift up the slab, and we're gonna need to. This one, I think I can get from this side. So this end is gonna go in here. Yeah, if you can lift that slightly.
You gonna sneak one in, Bill?
Yep. Just let me get him over here.
It's heavy, man.
No, not a problem. Coming down on your side, you good? Oh,
It got twisted. You can come down a little bit.
you good, Bill?
Good.
Coming down?
We'll give you a little break every time we go to put one of these on there.
No, I like the idea of just making him holding
The
Thanks,
whole
Bill.
time.
this 200-pound stone up in the air for as long as possible.
All right, Josh, if you're ready. You're gonna tilt it up. I need to get to these over here.
Gotcha.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
It's that quality workout we were talking
Mhm.
about. Okay. I'm
Hold on,
done.
hold on.
Bill's still working.
I'm getting my quality workout myself over here. Okay, go ahead.
Coming down?
I like the overhead shot. That's something we haven't had on the stream before.
It's very nice.
You
Very
haven't had
interesting.
me here before.
Let's see. Yeah, we need one right there. Were you using these?
Well, no. I'm just looking at
Where are you gonna go next?
where I'm gonna go next. I'm
Okay.
thinking about getting these two together here.
Okay. Ready, Josh? Yeah, I don't know how I thought this was gonna go down with just two people.
Battle's here.
Yep. All right.
Hold on. Take your time, Bill.
Yeah, just let us know
No
when
rush.
you're ready. I was just saying all right because I say all right all the time.
Good.
There we go.
Coming down? So, two more in the back?
So there's one here and one here and one here. So two here, and there's one in the middle. Yeah, we could probably go set. That blue clay looks real weird in the light over here. You can see it. It's kind of
yeah.
It is blue. It is very strange. It's kind of like
It's a steel blue.
how dogs sometimes have the blue coloring in their fur.
Right.
And you can see the light hit it. It's got the same thing going on. It's strange. All right, got my pieces. He's got his piece. So what's going to have to happen on this one? It's going to
Come
have
up
to
from
go
the
up.
back?
Yeah, it's going to have to come up pretty high. Careful, you don't kill yourself with lifting it up
You
toward
all
you.
ready?
I'm ready. Might have to just do it.
You know what?
Bill,
Hold
you
on,
ready?
hold on. Scoot it forward just a little bit. There we go. And now, up.
Watch right front. Okay, I'm good.
Woo. All right. Good?
Good.
All right.
What about that last hole?
Let's go down.
Good?
Yeah, let's go down, and then we'll do that last one.
This one here.
Yep, we're gonna go from that one to.
Now that one's tying in the big stone, so if you, I mean the big tree, so if you want to add a second wire near that big tree, go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely want to do that. So I think there to there, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that one. All right. Double it up there.
You want to come from the back or the front?
We're gonna. I'll come from the back this time. Since Bill doesn't need to get in there, I'll. Don't take that out of context. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
No rush, Evan. I got it perched on the plywood there. So.
I'm just waiting for the stone to skip off of there and
Nope,
destroy
nope.
y'all's legs.
Nope,
We
we're
got
both
it,
we're
yeah.
both blocking it with our thighs. Here we got it. We got it.
We checked all the wires, make sure
Yeah.
they're all good. Yep, they're all good to go.
Okay,
Ready?
coming down.
And bear in mind, I was by myself when I was carving this thing and flipping it around
you
and
all-
so
you all
forth.
good?
Yeah, you're
we're
good.
good. Thank you, Josh. All right, we're still on the overhead. If you want to describe the positions of the wires. And
It's probably really difficult to see at this point now because it's so wet, but there are wires coming out of every one of the holes now. Do we have any comments on there? Nothing in particular?
Let me catch up here.
Okay. So feed me some questions or comments if they got any, and then we'll start prepping this stone for putting the trees on there.
we can break hearts already. I'm married and he's engaged, so ladies, I'm sorry. Gentlemen too. I mean, I don't judge.
Bill, we got a question. Why did you decide to drill holes instead of epoxy?
We had 2 reasons for that. One, I like drilling holes. No, the real reason, we were going to use epoxy. We were going to use the epoxy. We were concerned that it might not have been ready in time, even though we started this morning.
At like
we
10.
were just concerned that the epoxy would not have set in time, and also we might have. I personally, I don't trust epoxy well enough. I still think that at some point the wires might have come off. The stones are so heavy that we're not going to be sliding this around and causing the wires to break beneath the stone. So there is that as well.
Other questions or comments that we can answer?
And I think we could probably switch off of the overhead if you want.
Oh, it's already switched.
It's already switched on your side. I'm going to switch it over here as well.
Yep. Did I see a root pruning question on there about something?
They're asking if it's okay to prune now.
So the wilt proof is saving us on that.
Yes.
So
and there was also a comment about that.
Yeah, exactly. We use wilt proof. These trees will be fine. These are bald cypresses. They're resilient. Trust me. I've done worse to them. Even collected them out of season, repotted them out of season, trimmed them out of season, wired them out of season. So like we had described in the beginning of the stream, this whole thing was intended to be done in repotting season, but it didn't work out that way.
Didn't work out that way.
So, but we would still like to carry through and do this project, and I trust that the aftercare of this planting will be done properly because it's going to be under my supervision here at the nursery.
Sometimes, a lot of bonsai is trying to figure out the best way to care for our plants. But sometimes you say to yourself, do you want to give up another year, or do you want to try and find some way to get it done this year? It'd be nice if we all had multi-person teams working on our personal collections. Even a nursery such as this does not have 50 guys working on trees as much as Evan and Doug would really love to have an employee staff like that. So you come up with workarounds. How do I fit it into the schedule? Well, you find a weekend that's still cool enough. We're not into the blistering days of summer in South Louisiana, and you use wilt proof. I'm going to be doing some collecting this year, and Lake Catahoula.
Yep.
But in order to do Lake Catahoula, you have to get in there in the middle of summer, middle to late summer. I've collected in Lake Catahoula as late as middle of October, and you've got to get out there with wilt proof. And it's the only time to collect there because that's when the water is low. It's a managed lake, so it's flooded during the winter for duck season, and it's drained for deer season. I mean, and you can replace Daffy Duck with a deer. You have Bugs Bunny and a deer slapping the sign. Duck season, and deer season, duck season, deer season.
I don't know if the Looney Tunes references.
What? Come on. You gotta know the classics, right?
Yeah. You know how to speak to the crowd.
Yeah. Yeah, my audience is a lot of
Y'all know Looney Tunes, right?
cartoon watchers. That's my audience, a bunch of cartoon watchers.
So I'm pouring the soil, the baseline of the soil here. So I'm kind of giving myself a little bit of an idea where the layout is, where we've drawn our pre-drawn circles, which now are covered with soil. But I have a good idea what's going on here because our wires are all sticking up in tie-down places. And I've got mounds now to kind of replace where I'm going to lay those trees out. You can stay in that view, Josh, just for a second.
I lost it from.
Oh, you lost it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Here we go. Go back. There we are.
And so, yeah, I'm mounding up in each part. And also, because the stone is it's slightly irregular. It's a little bit more, there's 3 corners of the stone mostly, but there's a lot of irregularity in the front here. So whenever we build up this muck wall, I don't want to follow the edge of the stone. I actually want to make it feel more natural because what's going to happen over time is as the moss that we apply to here, which by the way, we will be gathering moss to moss up the side of these stones.
Not just this one little.
Not that one little pop. That patch is not going to do the whole thing.
No.
But moss will be gathered afterwards, after the stream is over. We'll take some nice photos of it once it's all prettied up. But the moss will not only cover the mound, but it'll also come down. Let me get it into frame. It'll come down and actually kind of start growing on the slab. So you'll have this nice kind of slope down and almost like a flat section to the moss and the overall look of the planting. So you'll have dimension. And then in between here, I want it to look like this is where the riverbank, like where the little bayou, if you want to say that, is kind of in between these two land masses. And as Josh had mentioned earlier, there's a lot of horseplay. We've got too many guys on. But as Josh mentioned earlier about the Chapelab Basin, if you're heading over where you have the Henderson Swamp, they have all those little kind of, looks like little islands of swamp, of cypress trees. So when the water comes down, it kind of has that look to it where you can kind of paddle through there with the kayak. So we want to get that kind of same sense of exploration in this planting. So I think I'm at a good mound. It's the main tree, which I'm going to go ahead and place the main tree. We're going to put all the other trees around the main tree. And I think we're going with, 13 trees on this part?
It could be as many as 13. I think I drew 14 circles on the slab. So
Yeah.
when you get, and for those of you who are going to say you need an odd number of trees, trust me, you get past a dozen trees, you can stop counting. You can stop trying to say, oh, he's got 27, he's got 26 trees when he could have had 27 or 25. No. Even as low as 13 or 14 trees, it doesn't matter. And certainly on a slab planting this big, one of the reasons you try to avoid an even number of trees is the human eye is very adept at identifying pairs of groups, 2 groups of 3, 2 groups of 4, 2 groups of 2. And it just feels unnatural to see that in a bonsai planting. But you get as high as 14 trees, 13, 14 trees, it's not going to matter.
So the base of this tree is very, very nice. We got a lot of good fluting on it. This tree was actually a Nate Murray collected tree.
Okay. Nate's a good guy.
Great guy. Very, very, very good Yamadori collector of native bald cypress. And so he selected this tree because it has very nice character in the base here. You can probably zoom in with the zoom in camera there, Josh, if you can figure that out. So close-up's going to be number 3. So come down on the base of the tree. There we go, and now press there. Perfect. That was a nice transition. So see right here we have this nice flare on this root system. It's a little mossy, but nice mature-looking base. This is a great number 1 tree. So all the other trees are going to be placed. I might even place some trees as far as to go as like inside of the fluting or the long roots of this tree. So you can kind of get it down on the slab. I'm making sure that, and you can come back out again, I'm making sure that it's coming towards the viewer slightly, because we want people to feel like they're underneath this planting, as if they're underneath the forest canopy. Bald cypresses naturally kind of all grow straight, tall trunks together. So this section of our forest is going to have a lot of skinnier, younger trees that are kind of off of this parent tree, whereas the part in the back is going to resemble the more older growth trees, the ones that have been affected by wind and storm damage, lightning strikes, whatnot. And now they might be homes to your raccoons and bald eagle nests, whatnot. Beavers are eating them. This might even suggest some coastal erosion back here. And so we're going to start arranging the little trees around this big guy. And I want to make sure we don't lose track of our wires.
Mm-hmm.
And we can work the wires through the root system.
Right.
And
pull this one through.
Yep, perfect. And now I'm going to start handing Bill some trees. And I'm going to let Bill use his discretion.
Oh no!
And see what his design comes up with.
Well, I can't design with one tree. You're going to give me a couple here.
Well, I know for
and
sure.
we know that little grouping goes over there.
Yeah, we wanted to put these little guys on the end to kind of give you kind of that downward kind of slope in the pattern of the trees. So I really like these little guys. I like putting little tiny trees on the edge for sure. Okay, Bill's got about 3 trees. I'm gonna grab there's about 6 more in here. Okay. That was the odd one. That one's got like a weird root on it.
He does, but we
there it is.
We can get him right in there.
Right up against the back of
And
the main
originally
tree.
we may have wanted to put that one on the other side, but he's got this gap in the roots that just kind of
He kind of
pulls
snugs in
that
there
in.
perfectly.
Yeah, he really does.
So put another one back here. So kind of one of the things that I like to do with big groups like this is you'll have your main tree, and then you'll have a tinier tree that is very, very close in proximity. And that's kind of your suggestion of your mother-daughter kind of style planting. And so I'll have one very close, and then I'll have one that's slightly further away, and then we have a small cluster of trees that kind of act like another planting. So it's kind of hard to explain. Kind of hard to explain arrangements in forest plantings, like unless we kind of approach it from the fact that forest plantings in bonsai are basically multiple smaller sub-forest plantings put onto one big forest planting. So we're going to have groups of trees as if they're little forest plantings of their own. So we might have one tree, and then one tree next to it, and one tree next to it at different heights and different trunk thicknesses at different distances from each other. And then we'll have another group, maybe 5 trees to the side, with the same concept. And then they will kind of fit interchangeably with each other here. So we got 2 guys there. We got the 3 over here. This guy would be great to come hang out with this guy in the back.
Mm-hmm.
He has a nice curving inclination on him, so we might try to throw him in the back side here, behind the main tree, very close to the little guy, but not so close. I don't want to put him there. That creates a straight line. Let's see if he wants to hang out with these guys. Cuts in front of them. Let's see. Sometimes put a tree in front of the larger tree to create even more scale, but I don't like that.
I like him here.
Let me see. Let me step
You
back.
tell me.
Let me step back and see what's going on. Right now it looks kind of insane because all the trees are shaggy. Some of them have more branches than they should, and all the tree lines are not cleaned up at the moment. But right now I'm seeing, I mean, it looks pretty good. I can see all the trunks clearly from my perspective, from the tree front. Let's see if I can get this drawer in. Yeah. Okay, so Bill, next tree, that one, that needs to come closer to the edge.
Forward?
Yeah, towards you.
Towards me. Okay.
Yep, just like that, so we can see the other guys in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a guy that's absolutely in the back of the slab. He's way back there. Yeah, that guy, can you switch him out with this one? So, because this one's skinnier and has a little bit more movement. So you replace him with that.
We want this to curve out?
Yeah, curve it towards that that little like river area.
Oh, gotcha. I'll need to, I'm just gonna straighten him up just with some wire just to hold him in place, but he's not gonna be wired like that. But
Okay.
where, something to that effect, or you want to curve a little?
Let me see.
He's an
yeah.
oddball.
That's nice.
Okay.
Okay, so now we got the one last tree, and so that tree that is behind the main tree. See, so yeah, let's feel him first. That one, yeah, he's leaning a little bit.
Well, he'll,
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I like that. So
Mhm.
the tree that's directly in front of the main tree, he's kind of. I don't think he has a home yet.
no, he
has
does
a-
not have a home yet.
Okay, so we got 2 trees. That's not bad.
Mhm.
Okay. And okay. That's not blocking the view of the ones in the back. So, and they're slightly aligned. Okay. Wow. Okay. I think we're very close. So let's kind of take a minute to kind of just look at it for a little bit. I think. And what I'll have to do is go in and kind of trim off some of those lower branches so we can see in between all the trunks easier. I think that might be one of the course factors we can do now. So let me go in and kind of trim off some of those lower branches, because in a cypress forest, bald cypresses tend to have a lot of their. Am I right in front of the camera?
No.
Okay. So a lot of forests, especially old growth bald cypresses, a lot of the foliage mass is going to be on the top side, because of your main big trees are going to be turning into your flat tops, and then your lower guys are going to be like your subset layers of that. So
I had switched these two since you were back, while you were back there.
yeah, you're good.
I'm curious,
Let me knock off these lower branches on these dudes. Oh, ow.
is it your thumb?
No, it slipped out of my
You gotta
hand.
put the whole thumb back on.
Yeah, I'm just gonna clip my thumb off and then put it in my pocket. All right, so here we go. Let me get some of this lower stuff down so I can see these trunk lines. And also, I'm not gonna be using these in my arrangement.
Hmm.
Get these out.
Yeah, these intercrossing branches don't belong at all.
Yeah, they're not gonna do anything for us anyway. Snip, 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 snip. And I think I already did the back ones already and the other plantings, so that's why you can see them so clearly.
Much better.
Yeah. Whenever we have a younger forest grove, we want to be able to see through their trunks more. So, bald cypresses, we can take the liberty of cutting the lower stuff, because they're going to bud back. Like this tree here, I mean, he's covered in leaves, so, but it'll be fine just to take all that stuff off for now. Okay, let's see what we got. Should give us all.
Not straight on right
The camera's not straight on, where?
now. Yeah, I'm using 4.
You're using 4?
Yeah.
Want me to move
When
it?
you talk, no, when you talk.
Oh, this one? Okay, that's fine.
This one here, you're using mine? Okay.
So yeah, wow, look at that. Look how clear cut that, clear cut roses. No, that looks great. I like that. Looks like we're just about, yeah, I think Bill's kind of clearing up the spot I was having issues with.
The guy in the back, we'll straighten him up a little bit. My concern, if you could just take a moment, Evan, is
Yes, sir.
do the tree in the back here, do we want him to be a little girthier, like if we were to put him back there?
So we have.
Or I just feel like we're a little weak on this side for the thicknesses of the trees.
So yeah, maybe if you can manage to take that apart without it completely falling apart, you can switch those 2 guys around, see what you got. And here, Bill, I'll give you these scissors. You can cut both of those guys short because they're too tall to begin with. Cut their height down a little bit so I can see that top a little clearly for the main tree. Main tree is absolutely gorgeous already. It might be hard to see on the stream, but that tree already has a very natural feel of a middle-aged bald cypress. So it's going to take very minimal carving and wiring. You want to zoom? You want to do that close up? Yeah. Give it 3. Yeah. We'll have Josh switch over to our camera, our close-up camera. See how nice that base on that tree is? That is gorgeous. Look at all those little trees arranged in there nicely. That's very nice. I like that. I think one of the issues I'm having, Bill, at the moment,
Yeah.
is that tree that is, so you see the plastic cup, the tree closest to the plastic cup inside of the forest planting. I guess it's the one that's curving out. He's the one that's kind of giving us issues.
This one?
Yeah, let me see. Let him kind of lean like that so you can peek out from the one that's coming towards the viewer's eye. Yeah, perfect.
This one?
Yeah, you got
Okay.
it. You got it. It kind of fills the place on its own.
And we'll pull this one over just a little bit. He's gonna need soil tucked underneath him to get him to be
Yeah,
correct.
that was the one tree that barely had any roots on it.
Yeah, I'm just using some wire just to hold it up until we can anchor him down. He'll come out. He'll come out right.
Yeah,
We're looking.
we're looking pretty good though.
Yeah, we're looking pretty good.
Let me see. So those two, yeah. So those two guys right there, you should put your hands on.
Mhm.
So behind you, you got the hollow trunk tree. That tree, there's that small tree that's behind it. So this tree that's on the tip side, yeah, he's crossing paths with that tree. Is there a way to make him come straighter?
You want him taller? Or he straighter?
A little bit, yeah. See if you can rotate him around.
Okay.
See what that does. Yeah, he's still poking out a good bit. Might also just because the roots are so loose, it's kind of.
Well, it had branches in there holding him.
Well, then yeah, go ahead and cut it off because
Well, no, right, yeah, this branch is just the only thing keeping this guy where I want him to go. Either here
Oh, wait, right
or here, or,
yeah, put it
or
right back
here.
there.
You know,
There you go. That's it.
Yeah, so we'll cut this off. That's his branch. We'll
Yeah.
cut him off after, but for now, he's helping us with the alignment.
Okay.
You feeling
yeah.
good about that?
Yeah, this feels pretty awesome.
You
Here.
feeling it?
Yeah. Are you
I'm-
feeling it
I'm-
now, Mr. Krabs?
I want to see what it looks like from above here. Oh, nope, that is absolutely no longer a good view. All we have is that one tree aimed right at the camera, so I think we're not going to be using the overhead shot anymore.
Unless you want to use the overhead shot to kind of like reposition it slightly, if you want to kind of mess around with it.
Yeah.
See if you can get a better shot on it, but I don't know.
So high.
It has to be so high up.
Let's see if
Yeah,
see what that does.
I like that. Just a nice wide shot on it. Oh, somebody said.
Yeah, if I switch
big.
over to it, it's going to look like a drone
Oh,
shot.
yeah.
Right now, it's kind of like the drones flying over our forest.
There you go. That's interesting. Yeah, keep doing that. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that feels very surreal because the forest.
The flyby.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, it's cool.
that is not our normal
Is there any
view
questions
for
on that?
presentation.
No.
All right. So we're ready to start wiring things down?
Yep, definitely. That looks great. Let me put on some gloves, and then we'll get some soil up in there, and start with a little bit of soil, and then we'll muck in. And there might not be a whole lot of talking while we're doing this, but before we get too far, I mean, you can go ahead and start going, Bill. And I'll tell
Yeah.
you. I'd like to thank everybody for coming in this evening and watching us put this forest planting together and dealing with our technical difficulties. We're a little bit behind time.
As they were.
Yep. And we apologize again for the weird audio, but this will be edited and put onto Bill's YouTube channel at a later date, as well as ours. We might even see if we can just kind of just redirect the link to his channel if it's a better quality.
We'll see what happens. We'll have to see.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take my nice long chopstick here, very skinny, so that I can get in between the roots and start packing the soil down in there. Nice dry soil so that it falls into the cracks and crevices of the root system.
Mike Benton said that the 3 trees on the far left have equal spacing.
Right here?
Assuming the camera is facing the front of the composition. 3 trees
These
on
guys.
the far left. I guess
Far
that
left?
would be there, yeah.
So these guys here.
That's your right. It would be near Bill over there.
Yeah, the left. These.
Not exactly sure what he's referring to.
Yeah, because this tree is about this distance away from that one that it's in front of. These 2 trees here are about that far apart from each. Your program's black. Yeah, so these 2 trees we got about this distance. These 2 trees we got about this distance. And then this tree back here is about that far away and about that far away from the other group. So maybe from the front view they seem to be all lined up. Let me see. Huh? I'm seeing different distances from different angles too. It's a pretty dense forest, and there's some trunks that are a little bit the same, but I'm not seeing too much.
It is a concern when putting these forests together. You're trying to avoid equidistance. You're trying to avoid these. You want it to be much more natural. You don't want same distances. So it's a good observation to make that from a certain point of view it looked like that. So yeah, we appreciate comments
Yeah,
for us to watch out for that.
It's
If
definitely-
that's the way you're seeing it on the live feed, then from a certain perspective, it must look that way.
yeah, the camera gives you a really, really tight 2D kind of perspective on this forest planting. So that's the unfortunate part about it, but that means that later on in this planting's life, when I go to try to take photographs of it, we might end up with some. Can you, Josh? Is there a way to zoom in so you can show me packing the soil? There you go. That's the one. Yeah. Sometimes when I have to take photos of stuff like this, which I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna need like 3 people to help me take a picture of this thing in the future, and especially getting a backdrop big enough. But this is why we do bonsai, so we can put ourselves in really ridiculous situations. But yeah, I also kind of like the way that we've set this up, where we have 2 separate plant slabs to play with. So if I ever get into a perspective or a weird kind of arrangement of the trunks appearing to be too close together, or the thicknesses of the trunks don't feel right, I can even manipulate these 2 slabs to kind of move them with each other back and forth until we get that right look to it. Me and Bill designed these slabs together. I kind of told him how I wanted it, and he cut them. And even while we were laying out the slabs on the ground and kind of studying the way that the shapes kind of play with each other, we even kind of rearranged it from that point too. So, I mean, there's so many variables to consider when it comes to making these type of arrangements, these forest arrangements.
And I just want to say again, the idea of having a slab planting in the back here as being the back forest was just, to me, just a great alternate view of doing forest plantings. I think it's a lot of fun working with people and getting ideas to blend together like that. Evan's idea of using it like that is just fantastic, I think.
Thank you.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. This is something I've been wanting to take on for a while. Was a 2 slab setup planting like this. And when Bill told me that he was cutting stones, and I was like, well, that's perfect. Because I was originally going to do this on a big piece of driftwood but coming across pieces of driftwood that fit together, ideally, is very rare. It's very hard, and you might even, you might even take years to find two pieces of driftwood that actually like talk to each other in the way that we were able to make these two slabs. In fact, I think this was this from the same piece of stone?
It was not from the same piece of stone. It was from the same pallet of stone. They came in on the same day at the stone supplier, but yeah, they're very similar in color. That's important. An interesting note to make there is I went back to my stone supplier. I want to say 3 weeks later, and all of the stones, these are gray. All of the stones on his pallets had a slight purplish tint to them. So as they're working in the quarry, it just depends on what veins of material they're pulling from. So if you want stones of a very similar color, you need to try and get them on the same day, if at all possible. And that's what made finding a stone large enough for his vision difficult. Was I had to first find the large enough stone and then find a stone that would work well with it. It's a difficult thing to do, finding stones of such a large size. He made it even more complicated, so thank you for that.
But it turned out to be a really interesting project. So.
Oh man, this is just fantastic. Wow, I've got roots way out here. And that's this guy. Okay. Da-da-da-da-da.
Oh man, we don't have the copyright to that music.
No, we don't. George Thorogood and the Destroyers.
We're running into a couple more issues. Are you feeling good about your fruit packing over there?
I would feel better once we start getting the trees actually anchored down.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of things. I've got a lot of soil packed underneath the trees. There's a lot more we can do in here. This is just
that's gonna keep caving in. That big tree.
Keep taking soil constantly.
Yeah. So that might be part of the deal here, is getting a lot of this. Oh yeah. It's because the big tree had so many valleys in between these big nice flutes that I'm gonna have to work a lot around this big tree.
Nothing in there.
Yeah. And I kept pouring, you saw me, I kept pouring soil on it and working it down.
Yep.
And I wanted to go ahead and get a nice layer over these trees so they don't sit here and suffer with their vital organs sitting out in the open. So
all right, so for people who are just beginning in bonsai, what is it we're doing right now?
we are chopsticking the trees into place. So we are taking our soil and we are putting it on top of the roots. And then we are using our chopsticks, which are literally bamboo pieces. They're all cut up of bamboo rounds. And we are using the chopstick to guide the soil in between the holes and cracks and crevices of the root system, because we don't want any air pockets. If we have any air pockets in this root system, that will lead to root death, because they will be open to the air and they will simply dry out because there's no soil there to keep the moisture on them.
Or we will end up with pockets of fungus.
Yes, and also, yeah, even if the roots take on and they start actually growing and they grow around that air pocket, air is exactly what a fungus needs to survive. Which, I mean, it's also kind of funny too, because this soil, the soil that we have here at the nursery, is purposely loose and has a lot of aerobic qualities to it. So there's a lot of oxygen in there. But if you have dead roots, then it's a festering feeding ground for bad fungus.
Yeah, you don't want big cavities. It's real easy when you set down the tree onto the slab to end up with a large cavity beneath, and that's just going to be all moisture and fungus and such. But if it's packed with soil, each watering will wash through the soil, bring fresh oxygen into the soil, and keep the roots healthy. We're gonna want, this guy can come down, but
Yeah,
we're not
he's
gonna
gonna
get
get
him
wired
down
down.
until they're wired.
Yep. So we're gonna get plenty of soil in
That's,
there.
I think we're pretty much done packing it over
Yeah,
here.
because-
Until we get that root wired down.
Yeah, wire the root down and get the muck over it. You know, I just realized something, Bill.
Yeah.
I've never repotted trees with you before. I've worked on trees with you, like wired and carved and stuff.
Yeah.
But this is the first time I've done a repotting kind of type thing, and definitely building a forest planting. So yeah, pretty cool experience.
It's a lot of fun.
All right, so just kind of, I mean, this is pretty loose over here still. So I'm gonna work on this backside, but if you want to start tying down, if you feel comfortable with your chopstick over there, yeah, we can go ahead and start tying some of that down. This big tree's got so many different areas that I still need to work on. And part of putting wire, as much wire opportunities that we've put on here, there's not really a roadmap per se to which wire is going to connect to which. We're going to literally wire down and make sure that every tree gets caught with some kind of hold. Either it's hugged up against other trees or sharing roots that are overlapping and pressing down on other trees' roots to keep them stable. So we're just going to kind of play around with the placement. If you can kind of zoom in on what Bill's doing there, I feel like that's a little more interesting than just me chopsticking. So you can kind of see how he's trying to position the wires to best hold those trees in place. That's a good shot right there. You can see Bill's.
Expert skills, don't look for expert skills when it comes to anchoring trees with me.
And your face all up in it.
Oh yeah. Get my face all in there. The secret is the hair.
I was gonna make a comment about the hair.
This is my COVID hair. Oh, that's actually.
It's the hair that he grew during COVID. Yeah, that's what he meant.
No, I got sick and it just started coming out thicker.
Oh!
It started coming out thicker and curlier.
Mutations. All right. I think one of the most neglected spots is this area back here, because I'm back in the corner here with this setup. Normally, where we shoot this at, I have a lot more room to work, but we are currently in a transformation kind of, we're in between workshop spaces here at Underhill. For people who've been here already, y'all know what I'm talking about. We have this big desk / register space now. And anyone who's been here knows that this curtain back here, this is where that black desk used to be. So it's been rearranged, but there is a gigantic register and desk area on the other side of the building where the white wall was. If Joel Jenkins is watching, he knows about that white wall life whenever Caitlin painted that wall during that live stream.
During the live stream, she's painting.
Yeah, well, me and my buddy Mark were...
I'm gonna drag the stone out for a moment.
Yeah, you're good. Me and my friend Mark were working on a tree outside, and for some reason we were panning back over and showing Caitlin painting the wall. She was putting on her own separate demonstration. But yeah, we went through a lot of work getting that wall painted, and now we're over here in this corner. But it's a work in progress, especially for a nursery that literally in the middle of transition.
I am just daisy chaining wire around here.
And that's a huge part of it. That's
Yeah.
one thing that I was going to say. It's kind of like basket tie for the
Mhm.
wiring on this.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a daisy chain. That's a good way to say it. As long as the trees get a good hold on them, that's all we're worried about. The chopsticking, the soiling will help hold them better, and then the muck will kind of solidify the entire thing and kind of hold them in place. Josh, we got any questions or comments that...
Carl Gilbert is saying maybe you can tell us about Bill and what he does.
Well, Bill can tell us about what Bill does.
Well, I got into bonsai back in the early 90s and quickly fell in love with the idea of doing bald cypress as bonsai. These are very iconic trees here in the south, in the southeastern United States. You've got a tree that will live for thousands of years, and then every year or so you throw a hurricane at it. Every 10 years you throw a major hurricane at it, and these trees survive. Tops are broken off. Leave them alone to grow naturally, and they just have this beautiful flat top style, but then they're going to come along and get beaten up. No old tree for bald cypress, none of the old trees have no damage on them. They're all damaged in some way. And the way that they survive and overcome this damage is always the problem. Now what I've done in the years of getting into bonsai is I make my own soil. I source haydite, and I make my own soil. I sell it in the Louisiana area. I carve the slabs from these slabs came from Pennsylvania. I get some slabs from Oklahoma, some from Colorado, and other parts of the country. And bald cypress. I have a YouTube channel. Bill's Bayou is the name of my YouTube channel. On there, you will find me out in the swamps, just sloshing around, pulling trees out of 6 to 8 inches of water. One of my oldest videos just got a lot of views amongst the bonsai community when they saw me out there wrenching these trees out of the water itself, rather than finding a nice dry spot of land. I'm out there pulling it out of the water.
So, Bill, would you say that you identify as a swamp monster?
I no.
Dennis Burke has
Is that Dennis Burke?
is calling you a swamp monster. So I just want to clarify.
Dennis has a great photo of me being a swamp monster. Yeah, as soon as you said swamp monster, Dennis knows what picture I'm thinking of. He's got this picture of me in behind trees, slogging through the swamps, and he's posted it. He put it out there as if it was like a sighting of some sort, like Sasquatch or Luke Garou was out there in the swamps. Very funny stuff, Dennis. Thank you for watching.
But as mentioned before, Bill does make these. He chips or carves these slabs himself. And so we have some of these slabs available for purchase at the nursery, as well as Bill can give out his information. He does custom-made slabs. It's another thing that we can offer here after seeing this forest planting. That's kind of part of the deal is to help promote Bill and his awesome slab work that he's done here.
Yeah, you can reach me. My website is old and decayed right now. It's got a lot of outdated information. But you can reach me, billsbayou.com, BILLSBAYOU.com. And on there you can, I can also be reached via email, bill@billsbayou.com, or you can reach me through YouTube. Where are your pliers?
I have a couple of pair of pliers on the top of that cabinet.
Oh,
There's
there
a
we
stainless pair and a carbon pair. Choose your weapon.
Use the carbon pair.
All right, so I'm kind of getting to a nice happy medium with these trees as far as their placement. Now, I really want to put like I wish I could put a chopstick in there, but it's a little shallow. Like a brace to get it off this root. Let me put a piece of rubber or something on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't like exposing the wire like this, but yeah, something's got to be done to hold this root down, and putting something between the wire and the root will be best in the long run. We could ask your dog to snap off a piece of bamboo. He's been chewing at it for a while.
Ooh,
now.
I'm taking the camera a little bit. Hey!
Hey now.
All right.
He had to comment. We're talking about him. He's got to make a comment.
Why did he even melt like that?
I'm trying to push him away from the table.
He doesn't like what you're doing, huh? All right.
Fold that over one time.
You want to get some more cushion in there?
Just a little more cushion.
All right, there you go.
Hold that in place.
Yes, sir. Make sure that, because cypresses grow so rapidly, this will cut into that root. So this will just kind of ease that a little bit. Can you zoom in on that, Josh?
Sure.
Oh,
You're starting to twist the ball in there.
I am starting to twist the ball in there. Here, you take over.
Okay. You want to switch positions? You hold the.
Yes.
Did it right-handed.
There we go. There we go.
All right. Tell you what.
Tie those two together.
Yep. It's not a live stream unless somebody breaks a wire.
Yep. That would stop there.
Yeah.
We've got that.
That's got plenty of hold on it.
Well.
Okay. This is very nice over here, Bill. You did good.
I
You did a good thing.
don't know how we didn't have a wire here for this guy.
Yeah, well, that guy wasn't supposed to be there.
Well, that's it. That's
Yeah,
what
that's
it is.
part of his
And
deal.
We'll have to rewind and see that it was probably me that put that tree there.
What we could do is try to get a little creative with that
Mm-hmm.
and probably connect a wire to this piece
Sure.
and come around the front, and then we can actually put a chopstick in there.
Oh, he's getting fancy now.
Maybe, if I've got the diddly, there it is. So he can come around him and brace him. We'll try to get this chopstick inside of his root mass. There's a point of entry on him. There we go. And so you can go under that chopstick and kind of push up against the inside of him so the wire's not resting on his trunk. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, you're gonna wire that one. I'm gonna leave that one to you. This is a
Sometimes
for
in
you,
forest
sir.
plantings you gotta do some weird stuff. This one. This one here, I don't like how loose that guy is.
The other wires. Gonna use the fancy stains.
Okay. Let's hold that position pretty well. We got two trees that kind of slope out like this. It's pretty nice in the back. I like it. And now we're getting to a point where the trees are getting stabilized, and we're just it feels like we're randomly kind of putting different wires together just so all the loose ends are tied up and all the trees. That one's good, that one's good, that's good, that's good, good, good. The main tree is more than good. It's got like 5 different places holding it. That one needs the wire like I had mentioned before. So, come around here. Loop off of this. Kind of pig tie off of it. Am I in the way of the camera, Josh?
I mean, you're moving around, you're okay.
Yeah, I have to move around. This is. I don't usually work on trees or plantings this large on the stream, so it's challenging. So I can't go very, very tight with this, but it's going to be tight enough. Okay. There we go. So that kind of keep him in there.
Miss Julie is asking, was the soil wet when you put it on?
It was not. The soil is not wet, and for that purpose is because I didn't want the soil to I didn't want it to get caught up as I tried to chopstick it in, because if it was too wet, then it would stick to other parts of the trees and other parts of the roots. And so being dry, it is more likely to slide down inside the root system and get into those air pockets that we were mentioning earlier about making sure that we don't leave.
That's actually a very valid question. I'm saying from my own experience, when I was beginning, I thought that that would be the best way to not dry out the roots
As you work.
as you work, would be to work with wet soil. Boy, that's a big spider. Run along, little fella. Yeah, it was to use wet soil, and it was explained to me. Yeah, no, it's not gonna pack down very well. It's, you know, you're not doing yourself or the trees any favor.
All right, this is coming together very beautifully. I feel really good about this.
Carl Gilbert's asking, are there any new events coming up, classes,
For the-
anything at the nursery?
At the nursery. So, okay. At the moment, I am trying to get some stuff in the works for next month. My main focus at the moment is the Texas convention. That's going to be in San Antonio. It's going to be put on by the Lone Star Federation. And so that's kind of my main focus at the moment. So I'm getting trees together for that. I'm going to be vending there. I'm going to be a vendor. And so when I come back, I'm planning on doing a class for sure. And I have plenty of things to work on out here. There's plenty of Chinese elms that I'm thinking of right now that could be used for workshop material very easily. So there's a possibility we can do that. There's also some Pro Cummins Nana beginner style workshops that we can do. So I definitely have stuff in the works. It's just my energy is focused in other places right now.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Where are we doing the wall now? Give me another rundown of how we're doing the wall so I can get started on that.
So I want to kind of go irregular.
Okay.
So if there's a nice peak kind of point like this, kind of go around that.
Okay.
And just kind of waver a little bit.
Sure.
Not a straight wall. So like that wall has a straight section in it there.
Yeah.
We'll try to avoid that.
Okay.
And especially when we get to these really nice edges, like I mentioned before, I want moss to be able to grow down the edge. So
Right.
we got a pretty good placement. And we might even be able to come in and leave this spot right here, Bill, leave it nice and open.
Okay.
And then I'll put some wild grasses and stuff back here.
Oh, that would be fun.
Or even like monkey grass. So like
monkey grass, mondo grass.
mondo grass, like the little short dwarf grass that would look really cool in the foreground, or in the background, I mean,
Okay.
right here. So yeah, if you can find a space enough to leave like a nice chunk of the stone exposed,
Sure.
let's do it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And our muck. So, Bill, do you want to play around with the muck on camera so you can see it real quick?
Sure. Do you have a close-up or how we want to do this?
Yeah, so get into where I was in the frame just now, and you can kind of show them. There you go.
Okay.
Come up a little bit. Sure, that part.
Okay. This is a blend of Louisiana blue clay mixed with the core. And if you can see, as I pull this apart, you can see the Spanish moss. I recently took this blend, baked it into bricks in a kiln. I fired it. I fired the brick of muck and a brick of clay at 200 degrees. This is just below the boiling point of water. I baked it at 200 degrees for about 12 hours. The clay showed cracks everywhere. The muck was nice, still nice and smooth. I broke both. They were dry down to the center. And when I put this as a dry substance in half buried in water, it soaked the water all the way back up to the top of this muck. And that's one of the things that you need in a good muck recipe, is the ability to re-wet it. You want it to stay slightly moist, but eventually you're going to do something and it's going to dry out. The ability to re-wet the muck is paramount. Otherwise, what you'll end up with is cracks in the wall, and then your soil is washing out through the gaps in the wall, and that does you no good whatsoever.
I just saw a comment in the live chat.
Yeah.
They were asking about a good website for 101 bonsai, like beginner stuff. And I just wanted to mention bonsaiempire.com. That's a great source for beginners. We are currently working on like beginners care guide stuff. I'm trying my best to get my blog together to do some stuff with that. But yeah, I would go with Bonsai Empire to start. Oscar puts that website together. He's a very good guy. It has lots of instructional videos and little programs that you can sign up for and get instructions from other bonsai practitioners and other bonsai, I guess you could say, masters and artists. So yeah, it's a great source for that.
These gloves are working out great, by the way. They're gonna...
Well, you're the one that busted through your glove. You want another glove?
No, I'm
Okay.
That's the other thing about the Louisiana clay is later I'll wash this off. My hand is going to have a nice exfoliated clay, you know, like you do the clay mask for good complexion and all that. Yeah, same thing, but with my hands. So, no complaints here.
So when we apply the muck, getting contact with the stone sticks it in place, and then kind of melding it down, kind of like what Bill's doing there with his fingers, and then kind of massaging it up against the root balls, the root ball of the trees, and then if we need to add more soil, which I think we have plenty of soil in there, but we can go in afterwards and kind of fill the voids inside the muck wall.
And then he yells at me because, let me push this back a little bit.
You're good.
He likes to fuss at me because I wanted to have a muck wall just nice and high going all the way around. And he's like, slope it down, slope it down.
Yeah, slope it down so it looks like
It's got a nice organic feel to it.
yeah, so you can walk down into the water that these trees are suggesting that they're next to, instead of falling off the side. This is beautiful. I'm really enjoying the way this is coming together. Excellent.
It's probably a good time to tell you exactly where I got this clay.
Uh-oh.
You know, my daughter was like, what? And my wife was like, no, you're going to incriminate yourself on where you got this stuff.
I already know where you got this stuff from. Do you really need to say it? I know the story.
You know the story already of where I got this?
I'm a little grossed out. I'm glad I'm wearing gloves.
Well, we were at a cemetery, and a nearby crew was digging a fresh grave and was pulling up a lot of clay. And look, if you're not concerned about picking here little bits of bone and teeth, you know, out of the clay, then no, it's just gravel from your.
No, but isn't this? You said this is the processing runoff, or is this from the? This is from that cemetery.
This is from a cemetery.
Okay, because there was another muck. I thought you told me that had come from a processing plant, like a doo-doo plant.
Duty plant? No.
I thought you had told me that at one point. I was like, oh wait.
No. But
Bill doesn't take a kayak in those waters.
I do not kayak in those waters. Not at all. No. But yeah, this is, as my daughter likes to put it, this is graveyard clay. I was like, yeah, it's graveyard clay.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It was unused when they dug it, okay? It was unused. There are no spirits in it. There's no problems.
I am a spiritual kind of guy, so
no bits of bone and teeth.
I'll let you know. Something happens at the nursery because you brought this clay here.
Yes.
Ever since then, things are moving around at night. We're hearing things in the bathroom.
But no, it's a lot of things. You know, I actually, did a lot of research years ago to look into the many laws that we break in doing bonsai. You know, I took a couple of clods of earth, you know, just enough to, it's probably about 5 gallons when you consider that half of the muck for 2 5-gallon buckets. Half of this is clay, the other half is going to be the core, the Spanish moss, and several handfuls of cow manure compost, which is, adds a little flavor to it. But there are other, I absconded with some. We might see some trees in places that are on state land, and some of the trees might end up in our yards, in our pots. Let's see, what else do we do? And this is not undulating.
These are not the views of Underhill Bonsai Nursery.
This is not the views of Underhill Bonsai. These are the views of guests of Bonsai, of Third Thursday Live.
Yeah.
If you're using lime sulfur to whiten the tree, you are using a product, an insecticide, in ways that are not in keeping with the product labeling. So that'll get you, what, $10,000, $15,000 fine if they catch you doing this. If you've ever used railroad tracks to get further into a swamp or further into an area, then you're trespassing on railroad property, so you shouldn't be doing that. All kinds of little tiny things that might get you in trouble. But
Well,
I've never been convicted or even arrested. So
I think I'll do a little bit more soil.
a little more soil.
This slope right here is pretty severe. This
Yeah.
right here,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Cut it off.
No, it's fine. It's actually gonna help hold this together, I'm sure. So we got a couple of things we can cut out of there, and then I'm gonna go back in with some more soil and kind of do some more soil packing, especially in this area.
Okay.
Might even come up a little bit here with some of this muck, just to contain this, because this is gonna definitely need some more
Do a
soil.
close up there.
What was that?
Do a close up here.
What was that? Right here? Yeah, so there's an area right here that I want to kind of build my muck up a little bit and get some more soil down in that area. Yeah, we got all those wires in there kind of holding that tree right there, so I'm going to leave that like that, and then we're going to get some soil down in there, and I'm going to do some more chopsticking. But yeah, once everything kind of has a party together on this planting, and what I mean by that is the roots begin to grow together, the trees really start to fill out, and then the moss that I will be putting on here will start to kind of form a nice big solid cake of moss on the top and really get everything held together here. Then it's going to be very, very believable as far as a completed forest planting. Right now, this is what we start with in bonsai. This is the groundwork that we lay to make those gorgeous plantings that you see. Another thing to take to note is that I will be taking sheet moss that I will find like either on the ground or in various pots, and kind of covering the entirety of this moss. And it will kind of make it look a little bit more interesting, but this will still be open on the top so that we can get water in here. But that moss will eventually creep over, and I will be taking sphagnum moss and kind of cutting it up, not grinding it, but keeping it kind of long and making a nice top layer to blanket this entire top to keep the moisture levels really high in this planting, so these trees can have a nice recovery. Let's see, where's that cup at, Bill? You got it?
The little plastic one. I got the bucket, and that's the
Yeah,
plastic
there
one
it is back there where I left it. All right.
Kevin, we have a question about the wiring used to hold the trees in. Maybe you could touch on that.
Okay, and
He was asking if it rusts out.
rusts.
Here it is. Here's the wire. We currently get wire thickness.
So the question's about rust.
He was asking if it rusts, but
Okay, yeah. So the wire that we use to tie this down is actually an annealed aluminum wire. This is a wire that is widely used in bonsai practice. So this aluminum, I don't even think aluminum really will rust, especially when it's annealed.
No.
So
No.
so this will not rust. It will not necessarily break down. It is weaker than, say, copper wire, and even copper wire doesn't have the tendency to rust either because of the way that it is also treated for bonsai purposes.
Now, copper will just get a green patina on it.
Yep.
And Aluminum will get a thin, very thin layer of aluminum oxide.
Yeah.
Rust, as far as iron goes, you could have a thick piece of iron, and over time, the water and oxidation is just going to work its way down into the core. But once the outer layers of copper and aluminum, once those oxidize, then it's stable, and it's not going to break down over time. Aluminum maybe, but it would take years of exposure to the elements before aluminum is going to weaken.
And another thing to take note of is that also sometimes stainless steel wire is used also for tying down trees, and that also won't really rust.
It's just, boy, that stuff is so stiff though.
Yeah, that stuff's really difficult to work with, but it has a really high holding capacity. But aluminum is affordable and it's easy to use, it's easy on your hands, so we tie down stuff with aluminum as well. Another method that I've seen for tying down trees is actually taking raffia. So this stuff here, the stuff that you would usually wrap around trunks or branches to do really extreme bends on, most of them conifers is where I've seen that used a lot. People will take long strands of raffia and do the same deal, but raffia is very difficult to get through holes and bonsai pot tie down holes. There is a method to get it in there, but raffia will last a good long time too. But another thing to keep in mind about tying down trees is that this is not permanent. Eventually these trees their root systems will all fuse together, and then they will become a shared kind of ecosystem with each other, and they'll kind of all interlock each other together. And so in the future, if I were to go do a repot on this, they will have grown together to a certain extent that I would be able to pick them all up as one unit. So in time, I could take the wire off, and then I could also do regular root work on them as if they were one tree. So this is just the beginning. I would hope that this forest planting will stay together for many decades to come, and by then it'll be an established older bonsai forest. Or I don't know. We're not very Beijing. We're following some Japanese bonsai rules here in this forest planting, so
Right.
it's kind of a blurred line. Just trying to get some soil around this root, so I might even come up a little bit with the muck on it. Feel better about that, so it's not so exposed. Oh, lots of soil, huh?
For me? Well, there's a lot of loose,
A lot of loose pockets
space.
in there still.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually the whole chopsticking in. Sometimes this can be really a long process because, like we had formally mentioned, that we don't want any air pockets. So it's in our best interest to really work as much soil as possible, and then you can always remove the soil later if you have too much pop.
Another, for those who don't know, chopsticking, when you're dealing with holding a tree down, you want to sometimes lift that tree up and get soil pushed under it, and the soil along with the wire over it is going to create a stable base for the tree. So we need to do chopsticking for that reason as well.
Carl Gilbert's asking, in such a large forest planting like this, how often would you repot?
Good question on that. So it depends on how vigorous this forest planting becomes. And then we would hope to get it nice and pumped up, full of energy for a couple of years for it to recover and start to fuse. And usually forest plantings like this are treated like almost like a giant accent plant kind of planting in a way. I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of kosamuno, the way everything kind of forms together, and we allow them to kind of air prune themselves with this muck wall here, because the cypress trees will try to grow through this muck wall and they will naturally get air pruned in the process. So that kind of helps slow down the need to repot them as well. So if everything goes as planned, I think the next time we will revisit the root system on these trees would probably be in 5 years, hopefully, unless something goes terribly wrong, where we lose a tree or this gets out of hand. Whereas we're not going to let this grow like 3 feet of new growth on here. We've got a lot of branches to work with, so that's one thing that will let bald cypresses kind of grow too robust of a root system, is that they're allowed to grow freely for too long. And to mention, if this thing had a really aggressive long top on it and it got freakishly long, I think the wind would take this thing. I've seen it before on big specimen bonsai trees of bald cypress. So it would be in my best interest to let it grow out this year and get recovered, and then the following years work on some refinement and branch selection. So yeah, it's going to be slowed down throughout the years. So it could be 5 years, and then after that, once you get the whole root system established, it could be nearly a decade before you revisit some of these root systems if they're done correctly.
Mr. James Salisbury is asking, do you recommend a basic tool set for trimming and also irrigation?
Two big questions. Basic tool set for working on your bonsai and trimming and maintenance. I would start with, let me kind of show you the tools, because I've got them all here. And we do sell them too, so if you're local, come pick them up. If not, then you can always order our tools online, and also you can check out other bonsai stores if you have one in your local area.
And hi, James. I know James.
Okay. Let's see.
It's my brother-in-law.
Oh, excellent. How's it going? So, my tool set is kind of in shambles at the moment because it's all over. Basic first tool you should have. The top thinning shear. Classic. Mine are Kiri style, K-I-R-I style shears. They have a long, skinny kind of look to them. And this is only used for leaves and stems, because if you overuse this tool for things like cutting roots, you'll cut into your blade and nick them really bad. If you cut overly too large of a branch with this, you could break the tempered stainless steel. So this is like your 101 first tool in your tool bag. For cutting bigger branches, I've got a little set here because this is a Shohin size. It's even Shohin, like it's even like under 6 inches. Get it? But yeah, these are branch cutters. They have a concave kind of angle to them. They're used for getting in between sets of 3 or 4 and cutting down to 1. I mean to 2 for a bifurcation. That's a really weird way to show you. But because if I do it another way, I might be flipping off the camera, and I don't want to do that. But yeah, this is for getting in between the crotches of branches, giving a nice transition for bifurcation, and also removing slightly larger branches. Your next tool would be your knob cutter, which is this is a bigger one here because I use it a lot for removing branches all the way to the base of the trunk. For instance, like right here. Can you zoom in? I need to take these off anyway. Zoom in onto the main trunk here, and I'll kind of show y'all how these work. So right here, they got these knobs literally sticking out where branches used to be. This is a spherical tool, so it goes in and it makes an indentation, so whenever it heals nice and flat when the cambium goes in there.
The trick with knob cutters for beginners is that you got to be real careful. They are very eager to want to go much deeper than you intended to go.
Oh yeah, it'll slice a huge chunk out.
Yeah, if you're trying to take something off the surface of it, yeah, you can use the knob cutters. Just be careful that you're not taking too big a bite.
And the last 2 tools to mention are the snub nose wire cutter and the gin plier. My gin pliers are curved. They're for special situations. Normally they're pretty straight. And then Bill's got his here. I'll just show you. And
These are Nip-X.
Yeah, this is actually a Nip-X. I thought it was Klein tool. Nip-X brand. I mean, this is some heavy duty stuff.
You can cut copper with this.
Mm.
It's got a cushion grip on it. Yeah, I like that. And it also has a little locking feature. but these are some mean ones. Both of these have a similar feature that you won't find on electricians' cutters. Electricians' cutters will have a little V-notch in there, and that's used for stripping wires, whereas these are flat at the top. These are not made for bonsai, these are, so they're even flatter. So that when you've got a wire, if I was to try and cut my ring off and make my wife scream, but if I was to try to cut my ring off, I would use something like this because it would cut the metal without digging into the flesh. And the same token, you could cut the wire off of a tree without digging into the flesh of the tree.
And that's very important for scarring and cutting off a branch you just wired. You don't want to do that either. But those are the basic tools. You can come back out to the regular pan. And those are the only, yeah, oh, you panned out? Those are the only tools other than your chopstick, which chopsticks are off of bamboo rounds, like giant bamboo rounds. You can buy it, you can find those online. But you're just taking slithers of chopstick. Bill's got a skinnier guy over here.
This is from a Chinese restaurant.
And yep, you can find the Chinese. This is a quality one now. It's not the really bossel wood looking kind of chopstick.
I actually have one of those old ones as well. This is, I don't know. Yeah, this one is
Yeah,
not too bad either.
That's like a doll, like a wood doll.
Wood dowel, but it is bamboo.
It is a bamboo,
They're both bamboo. The thing about using bamboo over wood dowels is the linear structure of the grains of bamboo
exactly
wood,
what I was gonna do with
as opposed to wood dowels, which are made out of deciduous tree wood, and this constant working at the soil turns other materials just to mush as you're working it. But this stuff,
It'll kind of mushroom out, literally mushroom out on the end too. So yeah, the bamboo will always stay true and nice and straight when you're chopsticking in, like you saw us do for almost an hour here. But yeah, the chopstick, very vital tool. It's probably my most used tool in my tool bag. Top thinning shears, your branch cutter, your knob cutter, your stub nose wire cutter, and then your gin plier. And there's a couple of other tools to be mentioned, but those are repotting tools.
The most important tool that you'll ever have in your toolbox is the little roll of tape that you use to identify which tools are yours. Which tools are yours? Mine is a blue and green combination. Evan has this purple tape on here, so that when you're at a workshop or you're at an event where you've got multiple artists bringing their tools, I know that when I go to pack these tools up, things with blue and green on them, those are mine. They're coming home with me. So that's actually the most important thing in your toolbox is your blue. And if somebody loans you something and it doesn't have tape on it, you can mark it. Take it. No.
All right, so I feel good where we're at.
I think we're in a great place.
Yep. So let's go ahead and clear all this stuff away, and then we'll kind of reposition the slabs to kind of step back and appreciate the work, kind of clean it up a little bit. I think I might have a brush, like a little moss brush that I can use to kind of clear out some of the. Do you have a little moss brush?
I do not.
Okay. So it's kind of.
Did you want to touch on irrigation?
Oh, yeah, the irrigation thing. Whew, that's a big one. I use Ratio. Ratio is an automated system that you can control from your phone with application. It's all plugged into so many different things, like as far as the valves and the PEX lines, and down to the sprayers, and down to the water pressure adjusting and all that stuff. That's a huge topic that I might have to cover on something separately. That might even be worth doing a video on, because I will be going to a good bonsai friend of mine's house, and she needs an irrigation system installed. I might go ahead and just bring a camera and record the process, because yeah, talking irrigation is pretty serious business.
Bring that one forward just a couple inches. Yeah.
Oh, that's it. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh man! Oh man! Oh man!
Yeah.
Bill, I have a little red signal on your camera.
On which one?
If
Do
can
you?
see it on your-
Oh yeah! Look at that. What's he complaining about? Oh, he's complaining that he's getting too hot.
Uh-oh.
That's all right.
That's good though, because, not good, but
Not
that's
good.
fine though, because we're coming towards the end of this.
Yeah, we'll let that blink. We'll let that blink.
One thing that I will do is go ahead and silhouette in the main tree here, just so I can get a better visual on it. It will grow back. It is a cypress, so don't worry, guys. Right. Boop noises are important.
Yes.
Boop. Boop. Okay. I mean, there's some crowding up in here that I can go and fix later. See, there I go, removing branches way too big for these shears.
But you're booping, so it's okay.
It's boop. Yeah, it helps get the tool through the wood faster. There we go. All right. I want that to cover up there. Okay. Yeah, that spot there is a problem spot. I'm gonna have to put a lot of sphagnum moss on that area. Okay. Go here. And this tree back here, I don't know if it shows up on the camera, but the one with the flat top with the hollow on it, that one looks really cool with this planting. Let's see. Wow. Oh yeah. We did a thing, Bill, and it actually came out really cool. There's that moment of silence and marveling.
Mr. James is also asking rule of thumb on sun and water and care process in general.
For this forest planting, these are all bald cypresses. So once they establish themselves and they start growing like they should, I will take them from the heavy shaded area. I'm going to put them in heavy shade first for aftercare, and they're going to get plenty water until they start growing good. Once they're established and they're ready to be brought back into normal growing conditions for bonsai, bald cypresses take full sun. Full sun meaning roughly about 6 to 8 hours of sunlight is adequate for bald cypresses. If you have an area of your house where it kind of pans over and you get some good morning sun to evening sun before it starts getting blazing hot, that's really ideal for them. And then watering wise, I mean, these are bald cypresses. You can't overwater these suckers. I mean,
No.
they love water, especially while they're actively growing, and especially while they're under a lot of stress right now, what we just did to these guys. They will need a lot of water, and I will go as far as to also get a piece of felt from a hobby store and cover the entire soil surface with the felt to ensure that moisture levels are much higher than they normally would be. But once this establishes, this will hold a lot more moisture than you think. The only thing that's kind of bugging me is that you see that line in the back right here. I'm kind of, can you see it on that camera? The wall, the space between the curtains right there, it looks like there's another tree back there. It's just really tall.
Nothing back.
But there's nothing back there. That's just an illusion of the bad, terrible backdrop. But yeah, the tallest tree is gorgeous. The secondary tree looks great. Everything is kind of flowing in this direction, which is pretty nice. And then it just guides your eye to that little valley. So when you're viewing this in like a 3D, it makes you kind of look down.
When you're here live, yeah, it draws you in.
It makes you want to look down that little waterway between the planting there. It's gorgeous. This is nice. Well, yeah, let's kind of wrap it up. I think we did a good thing today. Even though I mean, not even though this is part of bonsai. Can you hear? Yeah, that's it. Even though this took 10 o'clock till what, 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, we recorded a little bit of podcast information this morning, but yeah, I would say we started around 11 then. So even though this did take all day, look what we accomplished. No, but no, but this is what it takes to do bonsai. This is the process. All these trees were individually picked out beforehand by me and Bill. The slabs were designed by me, and then he went in and he created the slab forms that we needed for this. Me and him went through and prepped the trees for this, and then we drilled the holes, And then you saw me and Josh and Bill manhandle the stone to get the wire through the bottom. And the full assembly, I mean, this is what it takes to create these type of things. So, and not all these forest plantings have to be this big.
No.
I mean, this,
No.
This is just a showcase for the nursery. So when people come by, they can see this big, nice planting, which, by the way, this is the second forest planting that will be here. And we just need more bald cypress plantings. I mean, this is a hallmark species for Louisiana. This is our state tree. It should be represented properly, and this is a good way to kind of do that. So thank you guys for tuning in this evening. This was Third Thursday Live at Underhill Bonsai with the wonderful Bill Butler assisting, and also doing a lot more behind the scenes and here, which you guys actually got to see as well.
Yeah.
So thanks for
it was a real pleasure
thanks
to
for
be
helping
here
out
this evening
and working with you.
and work on this what is going to be a nursery specimen display. This will stand the test of time. This is going to be a fantastic addition to the nursery.
Yep, the stone slab is really going to hold this thing, and I mean, stone's basically it's a forever thing. So as long as there's someone around to care for it.
Yeah, as long as there's someone there to care for it.
And that was
That my
camera dropping
camera.
out.
My camera dropped out, so I've already said, "Oh no, he comes back and he goes, he comes and he goes."
Yeah.
My camera's dying on me.
So this, like we said before, this will be all uploaded, edited, and then put onto Bill's channel for y'all's viewing pleasure. There are other things. Was there anything else? We didn't really record anything beforehand. You just took a few photos.
Well, I took a couple of photos.
There might be some
placement.
montage. Yeah.
Yeah.
So beforehand, you'll do a voiceover and all that good stuff. You do all that magic stuff. You-
I'm gonna let my daughter edit it. She'll have the zooms and fade effects.
yeah. So, but yeah, this was awesome. You guys have a wonderful evening, and we'll see y'all next time.
Good night, everybody.
Go get me a sandwich!
Put this flat straight.
We need tally lights so I know which camera to point to.
It looks a little out of focus.
Let's not get out of hand here, Bill. We'll be lucky if we make it through this.
No, as soon as it goes live, it all
So-
slides downhill from there.
All I press.